crocheting and
talking
and speaking to one another like we do on an everyday basis. Welcome back to another episode. I know it's been large patches in between of that and this and whatnot. We have many things going on in our personal life that have kept us from, kept me from doing a lot more of this. I've just been focusing a lot on my new employment, and we're in the middle of actually trying to get the ball rolling on finding ourselves a nice little cozy home.
Yeah. Chickens in it.
For chickens, and perhaps maybe a studio at some point. Something we can do to focus on our hobbies a little more and make more content for the few that are our viewers.
Yeah.
But today's episode of HardCore Fiction is going to be a little random. We're going to do some just random talk, like we do anyways, I guess. But this one doesn't have a main focus of topic, I guess. It's just us kind of blabbing about.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I wanted to brush up against, I guess, is something that we were talking right before we started recording, was just like the movie industry itself. Like it's in a weird place right now. It's like in a weird limbo. Like movies going, and it goes without saying, we all know the reasons why. But it's so crazy to see that it's this way now. That you got movies coming out in theaters, but also it's coming out like directly to streaming services, and it's just such a
like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. And it's just so weird to see that now, and it's like, well, you got options. Do you want to go to the theater? Or do you want to stay at home? And most people are choosing to stay home, which is whatever, and because I can understand for comfort reasons.
You know why I choose to stay home?
No pants.
Well, yeah. But then you don't have to deal with Gregor eating nachos on Facebook while you're trying to watch a scary movie.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely don't. It doesn't kill the illusion and the momentum you get from watching a movie, I guess. In a way, you can still pause it and go use the bathroom or
I can pee whenever I want.
Yeah, for sure. Which is pretty cool. It does affect, us that don't have giant entertainment setups, but I'm sure those of you who do have like your home entertainment areas it's probably great. They're probably getting their most out of their money out of that stuff. But I would I guess one of the dream things I would like to have if I ever, $1 million homes, would definitely have like a theater area. Because I know it's not the same like Dune, for instance, seeing the Warm or seeing the cities or whatever they have laid out for you isn't as crazy.
I don't want to watch that, even though we have access to it streaming. That is something that's designed to be on the big screen.
Yeah.
So you could tell even in the original Dune, which was all over the place, because that's what happens when you try to condense a big freaking book.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell that it would have been pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
In a big screen area.
Because I know we've both hovered over it a couple times when we're going through the ye old HBO Max, who is not endorsing us, by the way. But if you want to, it's cool. We would like to.
We endorse you to everyone else.
Right. But no, it is not sponsoring us, is what I should say. But no, I've sat there and I almost put it on today because we were like kind of just hanging out. Usual. We're recording this on a Sunday, so like our usual Sundays consist of snacking and being lazy about the house and watching as much shows as we can. But I've been telling everybody else I've been kind of like stockpiling movies that I haven't seen with you or movies that I want to see just around in general because winter's coming.
Winter's coming.
It's right around the corner, and we're in the fall right now, so I figure, I don't know, we've been watching a lot more series than anything else, a lot of TV shows. We've been binge-watching through some Legends of Tomorrow. It's the DC's Legend of Tomorrow. It's a CW thing, but if you haven't watched it, I strongly suggest watching at least several episodes of any random
Constantine.
Yeah, of any random season. The first season's not really that great.
Just click on one. It's fine.
Yeah,
You can do it.
It's great. It's you're the one that really put it into perspective for me. You're like, it's like the DC Comics Doctor Who, and I was like, oh wow, yeah, and it is. And every episode is just crazy. The cast is good, and you can definitely tell that they're having fun while they're making the show, and I think that's what makes it so much more enjoyable.
Which is the big black hole in comic movies, dare I say, Marvel comic movies, is it's always the planet's gonna explode.
Yeah.
Or like the Eternals, it looks like the planet's gonna explode.
Yeah,
like,
they're defending the world again from some giant thing, and
I'm worried about my planet exploding in real life. Okay, can we do something else? Like the movie we just watched was not a comic book movie, but the main character was a fan.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just about his mom, and his mom is in trouble.
Which was The Waterman, by the way. We just
You literally just finished it, and I kind of had like a little bit dizzy from it.
Yeah, that's why it's definitely a drama. It's a tearjerker adventure movie. It's one of those coming of age kind of tales, I guess, in a way.
Yep.
It feels like it had that same kind of spirit as like Pete's Dragon, and
yeah.
Like a little bit of like the Spiderwick Chronicle kind of feel to it as well. Like there's something there in it for sure, but
nobody drowns in a puddle, so
yeah, it's kind of gives you that. Well, you make up your own mind if it was real or not, kind of bit. You know, spoiler. Obviously, you know if you're listening that me for one, I don't hold back. I don't care if you're listening and we mention anything. Just assume that I'm not going to hold back on what I'm saying. But you
can't be contained.
But it's one of those movies that lets you kind of decide, like, is it in the head or is it a reality? It's good though. Everybody in there was really good. But no, back to the movie thing that we were talking about and that quick little gloss over we did of the premise.
We want to watch fun things.
Well, it's not only just fun, but I do get what you mean about
you're wearing a stupid outfit.
It's exhausting that every comic book movie is like, well, the world's going to get destroyed if I don't stop this. And it's like, well, the world doesn't need to be hanging in the balance every time, you know? And I think we've mentioned this before on other podcasts we've done, that's boring, you know? It's kind of it's been used too much, like the big beam in the sky, you know? Like, we have to close, it's like the bomb. We have to disarm the bomb before it goes, and we all know it's going to be stopped at like 2 or at 1, you know, but, you know, and it's like, well, I mean, give us a little something different, like have it either take place off planet, you know, it would, even if you're making the world's hanging in the balance, but it's a different planet. Like, even that, I'll take
Other
that over it being
exist.
like, Earth's in trouble, like,
Earth's been in trouble.
Earth's always in trouble.
It's like New York City specifically.
You know,
that always gets destroyed. And I'm curious. We were mentioning that the other night.
We were watching Mars Attacks.
Yeah, we were watching Mars Attacks, which is goofy. But like if you grow up in Japan or Germany, do you have whatever state capital just watching it blow up as much
when
as
you're in the
Americans have seen New York blow up?
Yeah, or Washington, D.C.
Washington. It's just like, is that like an underlining? Does that mean something? It's like,
no, I think it's just something for everybody to see and be like, oh, wow, well, we need to destroy a city.
Destroy the government!
What's a big city? Well, New York. Okay, well, we'll show them destroying that. I don't know. I would...
I'm curious about that.
that is something. Like watching any Transformers movie, for instance. Some city in Asia or some city here in America is usually like a big city with big buildings is getting like ran through. Yeah, those movies, I don't know. I heard rumor out somewhere that they were starting to try to make another one of those, and I don't know.
Another Transformers?
Yeah. I don't know.
Oy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oy,
see,
God.
but I will hand it to those ones. There was the world kind of threatened thing in, which one was it? Dark World? Was it the second one? Or no, the second one was The Fallen. But if you watch the first Transformers movie, there was like, the world was kind of hanging in the balance, but it was more or less just the city kind of area that we saw. We didn't really see like, the whole entire planet being like attacked, which I thought was kind of cool in a way. It's like, okay, it's just like this, it's a contained threat, I guess, if you'd want to put it that way. I think that's why I was such a big fan of Birds of Prey. Was because it's literally just like a bunch of gangsters fighting each other and chasing after these couple of girls, and it's about them fighting back, and I'm like, that's cool. Like it was it was refreshing to see that, and I thought that was
Yeah.
cool. I guess if anything, I would just like to see more creative premises to have a bad guy in a movie. I guess because it just I don't mind the heroes and the heroes having like all these crazy like godlike powers. I guess doesn't really bother me too much,
Yeah, it
but
bothered me.
I would like to see a different threat and a different reason for the bad guy to be there. But yeah, yes, I guess I agree with that too. It's hard to feel a character and identify with the character if the character like whoa. I don't know if that got recorded or not in there, but it's like
Was
a
it a
weird
train
train sound here outside of our house. Anyways,
Good God. Can't wait until we have soundproofing.
yeah. But it's that same thing of a reason why it's hard for me to get into so much anime sometimes too. I'm really picky about my anime because I don't like getting behind a character that's like, well, this person's super powerful, mega ultra powerful, and when he takes out this bad guy, okay, here's the next bad guy who's super mega ultra super duper mega powerful. Like,
Well, that's why
looking
I
at
stopped
you, Dragon
watching
Ball Z.
I stopped watching the Dragon Ball Z Cell, I think it is.
The Cell Saga,
because
yeah.
he just like keeps regenerating. It's like, well, guess he wins, and like I know now that they were stalling for the new comic to come out, even though they should have been in contact with the writers, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that all
So
worked
I know
out.
now why they were stalling so hard, but as a kid watching it and going, why are they stalling so hard? I'm gonna go play with Legos.
See, you stopped watching after the Cell Saga, and I stopped watching after the Boo Saga, which was right after the Cell stuff.
The Boom Saga.
It's really good.
Well,
That
I
stuff's
didn't
really great.
even I didn't watch it from the beginning, and you know how I am about
Yeah.
I have to watch things from the start.
Yeah, me, I can jump right into something and
No, I don't
get
like doing
exposition later on down the line, I guess.
Mm, Dragon Ball, on the other hand,
Dragon Ball is great.
is a freaking delight.
There was a show that I wanted to get into because it had to do with like vampires and demons and monsters and stuff, and I like that kind of stuff in anime. And I know whoever listens to this, sorry, no offense to you, I don't mean to offend, but Hellsing was just not anything of what I wanted. Like when they were talking about it, like just the premise, and then like when I was watching some of the show. And it's like, I get it. He's basically supposed to be Dracula. I think. I don't know because they never
But
really
it's called
quite say.
Hellsing?
Yeah, it's
Is
hard
it
to.
a Netflix thingy?
No, I think they might have some on there. We'll look for some to check out here after I'm done talking about it.
Well, not if it's crap.
No, it's not. I don't mean it's crap. It's not crap. But just to me, it was hard for me to get into it because it's like, all right, there's this guy and he's like super powerful and like the whole show is about like people trying to defeat him, and it's like everybody he fights is just they do this whole thing and they try to take him out, they shoot him in the face and blow him up, and all of a sudden he's just like ha ha ha, like that was nothing, like now I'm gonna come at you with like
It was
all
just
this
a flesh
stuff.
wound.
Yeah, it's I don't know, the thing of like not just giving
There's
that
no
person so much
consequences,
power. Yeah,
is
when you
what
give
you
them
mean.
like a god-like status, it's so hard for me to like get into the character. It's like whatever.
I think that's why Superman isn't very interesting
Yeah.
to me. I've never been like, obviously I like Superman,
Right.
but he's not a character I followed really close. I watched cartoons when I was a kid, but that's why I think we both like Batman, because he punched Batman in the face and he's like, ow,
Mhm.
but he's gonna just always get up and punch you back. And he's definitely gonna win because he's a smart man. It's just there's so many more layers
Yeah.
in that kind of person than it's like, well, I have one rock, that's it, and magic, I guess.
Well, that's why as far as anime goes, one of my favorite characters in anime is well, and just manga in general is
Mr. Bebop?
not just them. Those are my all-time favorites, but one of my favorite ones is Berserk. It's Guts, because Guts he's just a dude.
Guts is great.
He's a regular guy, but he's got pure anger and rage behind him, and that's what makes him that's what makes him to me relatable, because he's a guy, but he's just showing you just like how much a person can push themselves. A lot like how we're talking like Batman. Like that's another reason why I like Batman so much, is because he gives like anytime you're like, well, I can't do this, and then a little bit in your head you think, well, Batman can do this. You know?
Batman would just put a Band-Aid on it and call it a day.
Yeah, he'd pull out a bat Band-Aid and put it on his bat wound.
Oh, Wonder Woman, can you help me with my Under Armour? Remember in the
in the Justice League movie?
He's like, ow. Oh,
We all,
thanks,
I mean,
Diana.
anybody would look for an excuse to have Gal Gadot come up and grab up on their shoulder and arm and rub it, so
I'm
pretty sure that's what it was, him just being like, oh, I hope she saw me mess with my shoulder, she'll follow me in there. I mean,
I'm just saying that was planned.
I'm sure it was. But to also keep going on the subject of, I guess we've kind of made our way from all over the place like how we always do. But to keep hopping back to fourth two subjects, I'm going to go back to the movie theater thing. And I do want to go to the movie theater to watch Batman. I do want to go see that in
I
theater.
assumed that as much, yeah.
It's not just because, you know, and I know I've said it before, I'm a little exhausted on the comic book movie stuff. But to me, Batman is its own thing. Like, there's always been Batman movies, and I feel like Batman is kind of like James Bond. Like, there's always going to be Batman movies. There's always going to be James Bond movies. That's just how it is. You know, that's just as my opinion. I've seen every Batman movie in theaters after all the way up from Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin,
Batman and Robin with no escape to pause to, like, walk around and get some nachos or something. That had to have been rough in the
when I was a kid?
Yeah.
I was a little kid. I didn't give a damn. I just was staring at the movie screen, just freaking out because I was getting to see my characters.
Nipples!
But Batman and Robin was the one I watched in theaters, and then after that, every Batman movie I've watched since then, like opening night in theater. So, including Justice League, including Suicide Squad. I watched that on release night too because Batman was in that one.
I barely remember that.
It was the other one that wasn't all that good. The one with Big Willie Smith in it. Big Willie style.
We did watch that one, and it wasn't as bad as I thought.
It wasn't as bad as you thought, and I watched it again and paid a little bit more attention to it, and it wasn't that bad, but you do see where they, like you watch the movie and you're like, well, I feel like there's a whole chunk missing from this movie.
Well, that's another argument to put forth in the movies and how they've been subtly degrading, is that everyone has an opinion.
Yeah.
And no, not everyone's going to be happy, and that's fine. But just the combat of, oh, well, they're going to be like this, or it's like, just make it.
And that's the thing, too. Like, I guess if we're hopping back and forth from topic, and I'm trying to stay on the movie theater thing, I guess, if anything. Yeah. But, yeah, you're right on that, too. Like, does that make it worse, though?
Yeah.
Like that more people are watching it. You probably are getting more views on a movie because you're watching it from home. So that means you can have, you know, your friends over, or you guys are all over watching it, or you're sharing it with somebody or whatever. And you're watching this movie, but now I feel like movies are even analyzed closer than ever now because you can watch it. Now you can pause it. And you can look at something and you can rewind that scene and look at it again. Yeah, you get stupid stuff like that. And I think that the opinion of the public is like it's a good and it's a bad thing that's slowly polluting more towards the bad. It's slowly polluting film, in my opinion. Because it's supposed to be art and it's supposed to be, you know, entertainment. But it's so much.
What always comes on to me is like, this is supposed to be fun. If you're not having fun on set, it's going to show on film.
Yeah.
And that's the whole freaking point. I don't understand why they're so expensive, but that's another topic.
Yeah, that's a more in-depth podcast that we'll do soon.
Yeah, but it's just like the amount of games being pumped out. It's just it's changing and it's different.
Well, there's just so much more room for error now, too.
If someone shouts on Twitter hard enough, I feel like that's changed. So it's like they didn't like the Justice League in theaters, so they changed it. Then that we lived through that, and that's changing. Like, would maybe the ending change from when you saw it in the theater because someone didn't like it. It's like, no.
Well, it goes back to, like, I was on Facebook earlier, and when I told you there's that picture of that girl from, I guess she's supposed to be, like, Mercury, like the god Mercury or something like that. Like a nickname Mercury, I think it's Makakra or something like that. Marika or something. I can't remember. I can't pronounce her name right now. But she's like their speedster. And they show. I only seen little bits in the trailers of her like running really fast and doing this whole thing. And I'm like, all right, that looks kind of cool, I guess. And one of these guys posted a thing, and it's her picture there, and it's right next to Ezra Miller. Idris Miller, I think, or I can't remember.
Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller. It's right next to his picture there on from Justice League, and he's dressed up as the Flash, and it's like, who would win in a race? And a couple people were like, well, the Flash and this, and he's like, well, not the Flash from the movies. I'm like, okay, so what do you mean? Then why are you using these pictures for this one? And then he was like trying to say, well, the Flash from the movies never did anything like big and crazy, like blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, did you not watch the end of the Snyder Cut, like where he literally like rewinds time? And it's like, well, have you not see any of that? Like,
well, even in the original cut where he runs so fast he can run around on the walls,
yeah,
and then pokes a weapon towards Wonder Woman. Like,
yeah, he's like just moving ridiculously fast, dodging Superman's punches.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah, but the point, I guess, of the whole thing is that the opinion of the viewers is just, it's so much stronger now, and
everyone's taking it too seriously.
And it's doing a negative. I think it's doing more negatives than positives. Because there were some positive things, like the fact right there, like we got a new cut of the Justice League movie, which gave it which was way better in my opinion.
Justice League got justice.
But another one was like from Sonic the Hedgehog. When they first showed Sonic, it didn't look like Sonic. It looked kind of weird.
Yeah, he was terrifying.
It looked kind of weird, and then they redid it, and it looked
to be fair,
more
I
true.
never
And it was like, that was
played
cool.
any Sonic games.
I
When I
did.
saw him, I was just like, cool, this is happening.
It looked weird. It looked weird to me. I didn't like it.
It's not for me, so I feel like people need to go, oh, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
Which that opinion came when Justin Bieber was, like, on the rise.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, oh, it sucks. Like, well,
not for you.
How old are you? You don't need to listen to it if you don't like it.
Yeah,
like,
that's
it.
Well, and I think if anything, that's what I guess if I'm trying to say anything and anything at all, it's the opinion is opinion.
Yeah.
It is only an opinion, and that's a big thing that's still affecting movies, and it has been, and it's ongoing. It's just like, it's still this harsh thing where, like, you got to please the fans, even the people that aren't the fans. You need to please them as well, and it's like, well, no.
Yeah.
Because then you can't make everybody happy, and I get that, and I feel like almost every sci-fi action movie that comes out is trying to make, well, specifically comic book movies, I should say, is trying to make everyone happy, and it's like, well, you can't do that because you're not going to make everyone happy.
Back in the day, they only had to, like, just, make some sexist jokes and be on their merry way. It's like the way that I think a lot of changes happened in the DC universe. There was some mucky muck that was super sexist, that was saying no to a bunch of things. Like, the changes in a good way. Some producer or something that was like, no one would watch a female lead movie.
Oh, no, it wasn't the DC stuff. That was, I can't remember her name right now, and I'm too lazy to grab my phone and look at it. It was the girl who did the Charlie's Angel movie. The new one with the newer one with Kristen Stewart. She got upset because the movie was got poor reviews, and she said the reason why the movie got poor reviews was because of or at least I'm taking this out of context. Maybe she didn't say it. I only know this from like little bits and articles that I read here and there. But apparently she was upset because she said the movie did poorly because it had female leads, and no one wants to see females leading. And I'm like, well, that's not true, because Wonder Woman did really well, and Alien franchise has a ridiculous amount of people following that, and so does the Terminator movies, and maybe that just wasn't like just admit that it was like not a good movie.
Charlie's Angels is a horrible thing, like concept to hang your feminist hat upon, because looking at that era of film, the whole reason for those were to have women in skimpy outfits.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it. I thought it looked kind of neat.
I haven't seen it either. I would like to.
A lot of things like that, if they're different or new, or there's some sort of creativity upon them, like Dracula Untold, loved it. It just kind of went in the cracks, and I didn't necessarily hear anything bad about it, but it just like went.
It was Elizabeth Banks was the one who directed the Charlie's Angels movie. It got a 52% Rotten Tomatoes and a 4.9 on IMDb.
I don't care for Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I think we've said that. We firmly stand on that in hardcore fiction that we I'll say it. I hate Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's stupid.
Yeah, opinions are opinion, but also we hate Rotten Tomatoes.
It's just that it's rotten. It's polluting the rest of the patch of tomatoes. That's what Rotten Tomatoes does.
Put a bunch of movies in a basket. They're all not going to be the same. There's going to be movies like Transformers, which are about talking robots. So that's not going to be like a Citizen Kane kind of film.
Right. Well, even Citizen Kane to me, I don't care. I'll say it too. Like, I didn't give two craps.
They serve different purposes.
Didn't do anything for me.
And it's like a historical film framing cinematography.
Yeah, it's the groundbreaking cinematography was its thing, I guess.
And we go for the story, so that's why we didn't like it necessarily. But it's like, you can't lump them all together.
Yeah.
Like, you can't lump everything together. That's dumb.
Well, the older I get, the more movies I watch, the more I realize that there's two types of movies that I really, really prefer, and there's the kind that I can sit and enjoy with a good story, and the CGI doesn't matter, the setting doesn't really matter too much. It's all about the story. It's about the story that they're putting out there, and it's about how it's executed, is what I enjoy a lot. And then the other movie is a movie that I can completely turn off reasoning in my mind, and I can just enjoy it, and it just entertains me.
The Reanimator.
Like the Reanimator.
It's ridiculous, and it's gross, and it's...
The Reanimator by like story-wise sense and like a filmmaker's point of view, it would probably be crap to them. But I watch it, like, clearly a head can't talk. It has no diaphragm. It has no lungs. It can't make that, but it's a talking head. I'm like, yeah, it's funny. It's great. Like, we just watched, like I was saying, we watched Mars Attacks. Like, that movie's all over the place, but it's good. I enjoyed that.
You can't put a head on a chihuahua head and just have it pop off at one point and then be fine.
You can.
Apparently.
So I guess if I'm, like, again, if I'm saying anything, it's that. It's, like, people need to enjoy movies for what they are and try not to change them so hard themselves and, like, try to make such a huge uproar for a movie to get changed and, like, express how upset you are about this thing that this person did. It's like, well, that's that person's thing. They liked it. Like, don't tell them that it's awful. Like, you know.
Also, if you want to bring it back to the subject of theaters, don't leave your popcorn in the theaters, please.
Yeah.
For some poor, underpaid teenager to pick up. The garbage cans
or a guy in his mid-30s who's in a bad place, so he's stuck working at a movie theater.
I don't know your I don't know your life. Don't think you drop something, pick it up.
Yeah. Don't litter is what we're saying. If hardcore fiction is saying anything right now, we're telling you that.
Little rainbow.
Don't litter.
Don't litter, especially in movie theaters, because I hate sticking to the floor. There are questionable, like, sanitation because of that before the C word. But nowadays, I'm sure if you keep your hands in your pockets, you'll be all good.
You'll be alright. Yeah, sometimes I listen back to our podcast, and I'll listen to them sometimes through before I post some of them. Not all the time. Sometimes I'll get it done because I'm in a rush, and I'll get it finished, and I just put the picture to it or whatever, or like the background video or whatever, and cut in the audio right, and then I'm like, all right, there it goes, and I push it in there. But once in a while, I'll listen back on our podcast, and I realize, like, man, if anybody listens to our stuff stoned, I'm sorry. because sometimes
or you're welcome.
Or you're welcome, because I know sometimes we will be on one thing and then we'll like Mario, boom, hop over to something else and like jump into a whole other.
My brain has always been like that. I remember there was a conversation at the dinner table. I was a kid, maybe 16, possibly. And something my dad said made a chain reaction to start a new conversation. So I just blurted it out. And my little brother is like, how did you get to that? And I then was able, in the moment, I don't remember anything about the subject now, but in the moment go, well, this reminded me of this, which reminded me of this, which reminded me of this. And that's how I got there. And they all just stared at me. It's like, yeah, that's what it's like in here.
Well, and I said that, and you even asked me before we started recording, you're like, what do you want to talk about? And I was like, I don't know.
No structure means no structure.
No structure means no structure. We just we turn it on, we record, and we talk.
Free.
That's what we do. That's what we do here. We just turn on the mic and we just start talking.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so again, thank you for listening. If you're listening still, I know, again, we're gonna try to post some more. I'm gonna try to at least do one more of these soon. We're probably gonna do a live stream tomorrow if we can. If not, then I'm just gonna post another one. Yeah. Sorry if you can hear my laptop.
We're going into space.
Boosting up to go into space.
Going to the moon, guys.
But again, thank you so much for stopping by and listening to us rant and talk about God knows what we talk about. Coming again at you again, hopefully with another episode soon.
Maybe play some games.
We always talk about that.
Fighting games.
Do some fighting games or something in the background. Do some story modes or something. We'll figure out some more juicy, sexy content to throw at you guys. But again, thank you for stopping by and checking out us here at HardCore Fiction. And like, comment, subscribe, that whole thing that YouTube suggests that we tell people to do. Or don't do any of it, actually. It's up to you.
Yeah, stick to the man.
The choice is yours. Bye.